to regain. If you want to start winning games and stop raging like this, then you have to learn to regain. Now you may be asking, what is regaining and how do I do this said thing? Well, sit down, shut your yap hole, I'll explain it to you. In the simplest terms, you have died and you are now coming back into the game and you need a loadout, you need plates, you need to regroup with your team, or you need to get to a strategic position to win the game. So now the question is, what is the best thing to do when you come back into a game and you need to regain? Send it to loadout.
You guys silly? I'm still gonna send it.
Regaining is much simpler than we all make it in Warzone, but you and your friends probably have a tendency to just respawn and go full send at a loadout in hopes you can instantly have your gear back and be in the fight. But what probably happens more times than not is you full send the loadout and you die again and again and again to those pesky loadout campers. And what we want is to change that bad habit because it is causing you potential wins, kills, and most of all, your sanity and fun on the game. So pay attention and follow these 3 steps to improve your overall skill in Warzone. And if you learn something, subscribe to the page and drop me a comment below. And make sure you watch till the end to learn the #1 tip that every advanced Warzone player is using to regain and capture those kills and wins. The very first thing we want to learn is when we die, we don't want to just come back in and blindly go somewhere and just leave it to chance. So when we respawn, we need to be thinking of 2 key things. What is my goal and how much money do I have? So when thinking about goals, do we want to simply get guns and start chasing kills again because we're chasing a PR? Do we want to set up for a game-winning position with our team? Do we want to scavenge around for money to buy back other teammates and keep our team in the game longer? What is the overall goal? Now, once you know your goal, it becomes a lot simpler. You can start to look at what is the most advantageous spots to regain and complete said goal. What do you need to get this goal accomplished? Okay, so now you know what your goal is. We want to decide what is the best landing spot to achieve our goal. Let's shift to the map and look at an example in this case. All right, so when we're looking at this example, I've just spawned back in from dying and all of my team died shortly after. So I'm floating initially to see what is my objective and what is my goal, what resources do I have. #1, I've got to realize that my teammates are all dead, so I need to float and not just full send it, because if I do land next to somebody, I could die and the whole team gets wiped. #2 is I have about $1,000 to work with, so I can't buy anybody back. I can't buy a perk package or a gun, so loadout is ideally what I want. But is there any place that's a little safer to land near my loadout, or is loadout in a relatively good spot that I can finesse it and then get to some resources? Now notice as I'm floating above, I'm also surveying the area to see if I see any enemies, so that way when I dive straight down, I've only got to worry about select angles, which are most likely coming from the buildings that I can't see inside of. Now once I've surveyed the area, realized my resources, let my teammates spawn back in, I know that I can finesse this loadout most likely as long as somebody's not hiding in the buildings, but it's a chance that I take with my teammates being spawned back into the game. I dive in, grab my loadout, and I immediately head to my favorite regain spot on this map. Now you may ask, why is this such a good building to go to? Well, if it's clear and nobody's there, of course, it's got usually enough guns for you to hold your own. It's got enough money in different crates or sitting around the area for you to buy a perk package or a loadout gun from the buy if necessary. And it's usually got an armor box or a utility box to regain your armor, your ammo, your utility, and get ready to get back into the fight. So when you think about it, it's like a one-stop shop for everything you need to get back into the game. Now remember, every game is different, but you will start to learn common places that allow you or your team to quickly regain regardless of what your objective is. As an example, the sweatier Resurgence has gotten, the more I've needed to find consistent spots that allow me to get back into the game with minimal altercations, but also maximize my potential to regain with self-revives and loadout. So take this building here on Rebirth Island. It is personally one of my favorite regain spots in Resurgence, as it is not usually super populated with players, but also has a high chance of allowing you to obtain cash, weapons, utility, and access to a buy station. Now, it takes a little bit of patience and time for you and your team to go find certain regain spots that you think are optimal, but they can have an insanely huge impact on your chances of taking home more wins. Now, as we get into the tip that all the best Warzone players are doing to regain and take home those wins more consistently, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to the page if you've learned anything new today. And if you haven't, well, I appreciate you viewing me anyway. But my content is aimed to help you become a better Warzone and Call of Duty player as a whole. So be sure to let me know down in the comments if I've done so, or if there's certain topics you would like me to cover. Now, for this last tip, it may sound very, very simple, but I rarely see players do this consistently. Tip number 3 is simply take mental notes of the fights happening throughout the map, and also keep a tab if you see any crates with decent loot that you have not opened and know you can return back to for a quick regain.
Should be still more.
Okay. Coming behind you in a second. Then there's 2 on roof.
Yeah. Might be one more somewhere.
Now you may be wondering, okay, what good is it to keep track of where the fights are happening on my radar or fights that I've been in as a team? Well, if you or your team has been fighting all over the map, or you know where other players have been fighting, then I know when I respawn that those places potentially have loadout guns or utility that I can quickly land in on, grab, and be ready to fight. I mean, you've seen it from a stack of 4 being wiped. There's always plates, weapons, utility, sometimes kill streaks, etc., etc. Now this sounds like such a small thing to think about, but most of you guys aren't doing it in your daily games. Now this is such a subtle mental skill that above average players are using, and it constantly keeps them in the fight and gives them a chance at taking home more kills and wins. Now again, don't treat it like loadout and full send it without surveying the area from the air. But I think that goes without saying, right? Right? But quickly do your recon. Is anybody there? That's where a fight was happening, so I know guns and loot are down there. Let me go grab it real quick and then get back in line with my team so we can win the game. Now, if you haven't grown tired of my yapping and you enjoy learning how to improve in Warzone and Call of Duty, then all I ask is you sub to the channel so you never miss a video. And if you enjoy live gameplay with unfiltered rage and sweat from a 30-year-old dad gamer, then come by the stream on Twitch at @the_itags. And as always, create your luck, guys. I will see you in the next one.